So, we've been talking about the Dallas Cowboys a lot lately. And yeah, there's been some optimism. We've looked at how the run offense might actually be turning the corner. Maybe they finally figure out how to be physical again, how to push people around up front. That's nice, right? But now, let's flip the coin. Because while we're starting to build some hope for the ground game on offense, I'm going to be real with you. I've got zero confidence in the other side of the ball. This Cowboys run defense, it's a mess. And it's not just a bad stretch kind of situation. It's been a recurring problem, and the way this front office has handled it, man, it's left me with more questions than answers. Let's start by looking back at last season, just to set the stage. Statistically speaking, this unit was bad across the board. They weren't facing a crazy high number of run plays. They were slightly below league average in run play percentage faced. But even with that, the Cowboys' defense managed to be the worst in the league in rushing touchdowns allowed. Think about that. Not bottom 10, not bottom 5, dead last. They were also bottom 3 in yards allowed per carry. Bottom 4 in total rushing yards allowed per game. Bottom 10 in explosive runs allowed. And when I say explosive, I mean the kind of runs that break the game open, that rip through your front seven like it's tissue paper. Stuff rate? Bottom 2. That's how often you get a tackle for no gain or a loss. In other words, when your defensive line wins up front. And in terms of EPA per rush, the Cowboys were dead last. EPA, for those unfamiliar, is expected points added, a stat that tells you how much value a play adds or subtracts. The Cowboys were literally giving up the most damaging run plays in the NFL. And all of that happened despite stacking the box at the 10th highest rate in the league. They were loading up the front, 8 men in the box, and still getting blown off the line. That tells you all you need to know. When you've got numbers at the line and still can't stop the run, that's not a schematic problem. That's a personnel problem. Now, some folks might push back and say, hey, the defense struggled when they got behind in games. That skews the numbers. Okay, fine. There's some truth to that. If you're down late in a game, the opponent's going to run more. That's football. But here's the thing. This wasn't just happening in garbage time or when the offense fell flat. In the 24 losses since 2020 where Dak Prescott was healthy, the Cowboys allowed nearly 35 rushing attempts per game. Teams weren't just running. They were dominating on the ground. Opponents averaged just under 5 yards per carry. Only 5 of those 24 games saw the Cowboys hold teams under 4 yards per carry. The median was 4.5, and the total rushing yards per game in those losses? Around 170. That's a disaster. Let's zoom in a bit more. Even in games against average competition, teams hovering around the .500 mark, the Cowboys' run defense didn't suddenly turn into the 85 Bears. They went 15-17 in those games. Opponents still ran the ball nearly 30 times per game. The yards per carry dropped slightly to about 4.6, but again, not great. Still giving up consistent gains, still getting moved off the line. Put those numbers together and you see the pattern. When Dallas faces legit opponents, teams with even average offensive lines and competent play calling, the Cowboys' run defense is a bottom 10 unit. And when you're playing in January, when you're facing top 10 caliber teams, that weakness gets magnified. It becomes a target. So here's where the concern really starts to snowball. You got a defense that's built to rush the passer. That's the identity. Micah Parsons pinning his ears back. Guys flying off the edge. Dan Quinn built a high-pressure, aggressive system, and it worked if you had the lead. But when you fall behind, when the pass rush loses its teeth and teams can lean on the ground game, suddenly you're vulnerable. And that's exactly what we saw over and over again. And I get it. It's not all on the defensive tackles. It's not fair to just point fingers at one group. Run defense is a team thing. It's an ecosystem. The edges, the linebackers, the safeties, they all play a part. But here's what's crazy. Even though the Cowboys faced the fewest inside runs in the NFL last year, they were still horrible at defending them. They were 19th in total yards allowed on inside runs, which might not sound terrible until you realize they were last in yards per carry allowed on those runs. That's last, on the fewest amount of attempts. Opposing teams didn't even need to run up the gut that often to expose Dallas. And when they did, they were ripping off chunk gains. And on the outside, same story. Team saw the tape. They knew the formula. Get to the edge. Take advantage of slow backside pursuit. And the numbers back it up. Cowboys were tied for second worst in touchdowns allowed on outside runs. They were 30th in yards per game allowed on outside runs. 23rd in yards per carry. You see the trend, right? So how are they trying to fix this? Well, that's the part that gets frustrating. Because I'm not sure they actually did. There's a new coaching staff. Yes, Mike Zimmer comes in as defensive coordinator. That's a big change. Maybe a philosophical reset. But Zimmer's a guy who's built his best defenses with strong interior line play. Think Linval Joseph. Think Pat Williams. Right now, Dallas doesn't have a single dude like that on the roster. DeMarcus Lawrence, one of the few guys who's consistently been a solid run defender on the edge, is now out. That's a big loss. Jordan Lewis? Gone. And even though he's a corner, his run support was seriously underrated. Those are two guys who brought physicality, discipline, and awareness to the run game. In their place, you've got some new faces, but are they the right ones? Jack Sanborn comes in, solid instincts, sure, but not a full-time starter in Chicago. Kenneth Murray? Great athlete, but struggles with awareness. Solomon Thomas? Been in the league for years and never made a name for himself against the run. Dante Fowler's still around, but he's never been a run stopper. Marshawn Nealon's a promising rookie, but are you banking on him to replace what Tank Lawrence brought to the table? And what about the interior? This is where things really start to look shaky. Osa Odigizua is back. He's fine, can be disruptive, but he's a 3 technique. He's not anchoring the middle. Motzi Smith, the guy they spent a first-round pick on last year to fix the interior, he's lost weight. They're trying to make him a more mobile, penetrating player, which sounds nice, until you remember they drafted him because he was a big-bodied nose tackle. They needed him to be that guy, that anchor, and now he's not that guy. You got a bunch of undersized or miscast pieces rotating at defensive tackle. Names like Perion Winfrey, Jay Tuffley, Denzel Daxon, Akam Ebekweso. If those sound like depth chart filler guys, that's because that's exactly what they are. And the veterans they leaned on last year, guys like Carl Davis, Neville Gallimore, or even Jonathan Hankins, they're out of the league now. That's what this staff is trying to replace. It feels like deja vu. Last year, Dallas thought they could piece it together with guys like Motzi and the Funky Bunch, hoping it would be just enough to hold up, and they got steamrolled. Now they're back, trying the same formula, hoping for a different result. That's not confidence. That's denial. And to make things worse, if that's even possible, when Motzi Smith was asked about the weight drop, he said he's around 315 pounds now. So he's still heavy, but not nose tackle heavy. Not that sit in the A-gap and take on a double team heavy. It's like the team is caught between visions. They want him to be versatile, but they also need him to be a specialist. That's a recipe for disaster. Now look, Motzi might take a step forward. It's possible. He flashed in the Giants game last year. But that was one game, against a bad line. And even in preseason action this year, when the starters weren't playing, the depth guys got gashed in the fourth quarter. If you can't hold up against backups, what are you going to do when the Eagles come to town with that offensive line? What happens when you run into San Francisco again? And that brings me to my biggest point. You can have the best pass rush in the league, and the Cowboys might. But that doesn't matter if you're trailing. You can't pin your ears back and chase the quarterback when you're down 10 in the third quarter. You need stops. You need to make the other team throw. And right now, I don't trust this front seven to do that consistently. We'll keep going on this because there's more to cover. Linebackers, edge depth, the coaching tweaks. But already, it's clear, if the Cowboys want to be serious contenders, this run defense has to change. And as of now, I'm not seeing that change. Not yet. Let's keep it rolling, because we haven't even talked enough about the linebackers, and honestly, that's where some of my biggest concerns start stacking up. This group? It's thin. It's young. And right now, it's being asked to do a lot. So, the Cowboys lose Leighton Vander Esch, a guy who, when healthy, was one of their most consistent tacklers and communicators in the middle of the defense. Say what you want about his athletic ceiling, but the man knew where to be. He had instincts. He brought size. And he cleaned up a lot of messes when the front four lost the line of scrimmage. Without him, the plan seems to be rolling with a rotation that includes Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, DeMarvion Overshone, and some combination of depth guys behind them. Now, Overshone is coming off an injury, and I do think he has the potential to be a breakout player if used right. He's got range, he's got juice, and he attacks the ball. But he's still recovering, and he's young. You don't know what you're getting yet. So he's not someone you can count on to be the field general. Not yet. Jack Sanborn? I like him. I do. He plays hard, and when you're talking about instincts and tackling angles, he checks a lot of boxes. But let's not pretend he's a franchise linebacker. He's a glue guy, a guy who can give you solid reps, but if he's your best option in the middle, you're probably a little light. Then there's Kenneth Murray, and here's where the warning lights really start flashing. I've watched this guy for years, and it's the same story. Great athlete, flashes in space, but the instincts just aren't there. He hesitates. He overruns plays. He takes poor angles. And when you're playing linebacker in the NFL, especially behind a shaky defensive line, that's a killer. You need guys who can diagnose quickly, fill gaps fast, and make clean tackles. Murray give you splash plays. He'll shoot a gap and blow up a screen every now and then. But more often than not, he's out of position, or worse, getting turned around by misdirection. We already saw it in the preseason. There was a clip going around where DeMarvion Overshone bites on a fake, and Kenneth Murray completely loses his man. The Rams, playing mostly backups, were gashing the Cowboys in the second half, and that was with the linebackers out there. It's a pattern. The tackling is inconsistent. The pursuit lanes are undisciplined. And when the defensive tackles aren't holding up blocks, and let's be honest, right now they aren't, that leaves the linebackers exposed. And if your linebackers are out of position or hesitant to commit, the entire front seven collapses. It becomes easy pickings for a smart offensive coordinator. And this leads us into the next issue, defensive in-depth. You're not just trying to replace DeMarcus Lawrence, who, by the way, was one of the best backside run defenders in the NFL when healthy. You're also banking on development from guys like Marshawn Kneeland, Sam Williams, and hoping that a rotation of Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, and maybe Viliami Fehoko can hold the edge. But let's break that down. Micah is elite. One of the most dynamic defensive players in the league, no doubt. But he's not a traditional edge setter. His game is speed and explosion. You don't want Micah having to anchor the run game snap after snap. That's not where his value is. Dante Fowler? Again, solid pass rusher, but not a run-stopping force. Sam Williams? Tremendous potential, incredible physical traits, but still raw in terms of discipline and awareness. Marshawn Kneeland might be the most interesting name in this group, but you're talking about a rookie stepping into a physical role with a lot of responsibility. That's a big ask. And again, none of these guys are bringing what Tank Lawrence brought. His ability to diagnose the play, take on the pulling guard, string out a run, force a cutback. Those aren't flashy things, but they're the plays that prevent 2nd and 3 from turning into 2nd and 1. When you lose that, when you don't replace that, it shows up fast. Suddenly, your corners are being asked to tackle running backs in space. Your safeties are stepping down into the box more often. You get caught in mismatches. You give up easy yards, and it kills your ability to get teams off schedule. And then there's the elephant in the room. Or maybe I should say the lack of an elephant, because this team has decided clearly and intentionally to not have a true nose tackle. They're saying, hey, we're going leaner. We're going quicker. Guys like Motzie Smith have dropped weight. Solomon Thomas is being asked to play inside at under 260 pounds. That's light. You look across the roster and you see it. Jay Tufele is probably the closest thing to a traditional space eater, and even he's more of a penetrator. Denzel Daxon, not proven. Akem Ebekweso, a project. Perion Winfrey, a 3-tech, not a 1-tech. OSA, also a 3-tech. Solomon Thomas, undersized. And this isn't just a weight issue. This is a philosophy. Dallas has clearly decided it would rather chase quickness and versatility than size and power. And that might work in some situations. Against spread offenses, against tempo teams that don't run a power scheme. Sure. But when December rolls around, and you're going up against Philadelphia or San Francisco or Detroit or whoever lines up with 2 tight ends and dares you to stop the run, this group doesn't look ready for that. And even if you wanted to fix it, what are the options at this point? You're in mid-August. The free agent market is bare. You could bring back someone like Linval Joseph, and yeah, he helped down the stretch last year. He gave you some short yardage stability, but he's not a season-long solution. He's 34. He's a Band-Aid. The rumors swirling around Dallas is electrifying. Ezekiel Elliott, the dynamic running back, once again could be making a sensational return to the Cowboys, sparking an outpouring of excitement across the city. Fans and insiders alike are buzzing with anticipation, imagining the impact of Elliott's homecoming on a team that has been searching for a spark to ignite their offense. The possibility of him donning the iconic blue and silver jersey once more is stirring conversations in sports bars, online forums, and even corporate boardrooms. Some speculate that the Cowboys management, eager to inject experience and proven talent into their roster, might be in advanced talks with Elliott's camp. This potential reunion is not just about football. It's about rekindling a connection that once electrified the AT&T Stadium and brought hope to a fan base yearning for playoff success. Rumors suggest that Elliott's familiarity with the team's system, combined with his work ethic and leadership qualities, make him an ideal candidate to lead the backfield once again. The buzz is palpable, with speculation spreading that the Cowboys front office sees Elliott not merely as a player, but as a symbol of resilience and an anchor for a team looking to build momentum. This potential signing could be the narrative Dallas needs as they eye a deeper postseason run, igniting dreams of glory among supporters and analysts alike. Speculation about Ezekiel Elliott's return to Dallas has stirred a wave of hope and anticipation that resonates beyond the usual sports chatter. The buzz centers on whether the Cowboys are preparing to welcome back a familiar face who once dominated defenses with his explosive runs and relentless determination. Sources close to the organization hint at discussions that go beyond just contract numbers, delving into Elliott's potential role as a mentor to younger players and a key component of the team's evolving strategy. This isn't merely about adding another running back. It's about integrating a veteran presence who understands the culture and expectations of the franchise. The city of Dallas itself seems poised to celebrate if the deal materializes, with fans imagining the roar of the crowd as Elliott returns to the field, re-energizing the offense and becoming a focal point once more. Industry insiders suggest that the Cowboys see Elliott as a solution to recent struggles in the running game, and this strategic move could pay dividends in balancing the offense and relieving pressure on the passing game. Enthusiasm is spreading fast, and many are already speculating on how this reunion might change the trajectory of the Cowboys season, turning whispered rumors into a powerful source of motivation. The chatter about Ezekiel Elliott's potential comeback to Dallas is not just idle talk. It reflects a deeper narrative about the Cowboys' quest for identity and stability in their offensive unit. Analysts and fans are abuzz with the possibility that Elliott's return could symbolize a strategic shift for the franchise, aiming to recapture the energy and success of past seasons. Behind closed doors, insiders say the Cowboys' leadership is weighing the benefits of reintegrating a player who knows the playbook, the locker room, and the pressure of performing under the bright lights of Dallas. Elliott's work ethic, leadership, and ability to perform in clutch moments are qualities that could resonate powerfully with a team undergoing transition. Moreover, the rumor mill suggests that the Cowboys are positioning Elliott not just as a player, but as a cultural cornerstone who can help mentor emerging talent and stabilize the team dynamic. The city's response to the rumor has been overwhelmingly positive, with social media abuzz and local media outlets speculating on how Elliott's return might reshape the team's offensive identity. This potential signing is seen as more than just a roster move. It's viewed as a statement of intent from the Cowboys management, signaling their commitment to compete at the highest level once again. Whispers of Ezekiel Elliott's imminent return to Dallas have set off a frenzy of excitement, speculation, and hopeful anticipation among fans and sports commentators alike. This rumor, circulating with increasing intensity, suggests that the Cowboys may be ready to bring back a player whose previous contributions were nothing short of transformative. The potential reunion is viewed as a pivotal moment that could inject renewed vigor into a team searching for consistency and a competitive edge. Industry observers point to Elliott's proven track record of durability production, and leadership as factors that make him an attractive option for the Cowboys' offensive scheme. Moreover, the buzz extends to the financial and strategic implications of the deal, with insiders suggesting that the Cowboys might be crafting a contract that balances cost-effectiveness with high-impact potential. The emotional connection between Elliott and the Dallas fan base adds another layer of intrigue, as supporters are eager to see a familiar hero return to the gridiron to once again electrify the crowd. The rumor has already sparked debates about how Elliott's style of play might complement the current roster, providing a much-needed boost to the ground game and opening opportunities for the passing attack. If this comeback comes to fruition, it could mark a defining chapter in the Cowboys' ongoing quest for glory. The possibility of Ezekiel Elliott's return to the Cowboys has ignited a wave of excitement and conjecture that permeates every corner of Dallas and beyond. Fans are eagerly imagining the spectacle of Elliott's triumphant return to a stadium where he once dazzled defenders and energized crowds with his powerful runs and relentless drive. Behind the scenes, whispers from league insiders suggest that negotiations may be in advanced stages, with both parties motivated by mutual interest. Elliott seeking a familiar environment to showcase his talents, and the Cowboys aiming to reinforce their roster with a proven star. This rumor has taken on a life of its own, capturing the imagination of a fan base hungry for success and a team eager to regain its footing as a championship contender. Analysts speculate that Elliott's experience and familiarity with the franchise's culture could provide stability amid an evolving team dynamic, making him a valuable asset beyond just his on-field contributions. The narrative also touches on Elliott's potential leadership role, mentoring younger players and embodying the grit and determination emblematic of Dallas football. As the city buzzes with excitement and speculation, the potential return of Ezekiel Elliott stands as a compelling story of homecoming, hope, and the relentless pursuit of victory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.